Balzan, the boss on board. Yeah, that's the right car.
Right,
Alessandro Balzan on board.
It's got into the pits, I think, but it kind of came across the chicane to go into the pit. It didn't come down the pit road. So I didn't see it spin or anything, to be honest. I just saw some headlights coming towards us and then turning into the pit road. So
I expected that car to be higher up than it is. Christina
started
Nielsen
last, remember you told me.
did start last after Christina had a little off on Thursday night.
Pit road for the leader. Johnny Adam in Pro is on pit road. Stanaway into the lead and continuing on.
Yeah, Christina had a bit of an off on Thursday night in the first session. They split an oil cooler, did some damage, sat out the final qualifying session, started last, and I did expect them to be coming through, and I expected to see them fighting in GTEM for a podium, because Christina's a pretty handy silver. Alessandro Balzan, their gold, and Brett Curtis, the bronze driver. Brett is pretty good. Those guys have had a lot of success in the US series, but let's see where they are come the morning.
I think this is an AM battle that we're following here. I think this is for second and third. I'm sure that's the 90 Aston Martin, followed by the 77 Porsche. Second and third in AM. So you see the three red lights on the side of the car. That indicates that it's third, and that car is third in its category. Getting down towards the end of another lap. The leader of the race has done 175 laps.
Driver on board that car, somebody I don't know much about, Marvin Deist.
Okay, let me get my book out. Let's see what we can find out. We got the book out. We're quite good. The book's coming into its own now. Car 77. Let me find that.
The sister car, you have to say, was the fancied one of the Proton competition cars, but we lost that car early on in the first hour of the race when it got taken out quite rudely by Roman Rusnov in the number 26G drive Oreca.
Well, Marvin is on his first start here. This year he's doing WEC and Elms in 2017. He's 20 years old and he's from Germany.
What's he come up through, or do we not know?
There was nothing on Wikipedia on him. He's still a bit of an unknown.
Okay, he's obviously got some talent, running third in the GTEM class as we speak.
There's some more books on this desk which will have some more information on it. That's what I've got, but there's some more little tiny books somewhere that Mr. Dumbreck had somewhere, but we'll find those. We might be able to find a little bit more. That's a Porsche book, that is. Not sure where Peter's put them. Anyway, we'll find them at some point. It's we have. I did tweet a picture of our comms box not so long ago. It is a bit of a mess, I have to say. Five of us living in here.
I blame Dumbreck.
And Alan McNish. That's one of the books that we're looking for. But there is a driver book as well. There's a car book and a driver book, but I don't know where the driver book went. Anyway, we're digressing from what we are wanting to talk about. But this is, whoops, my microphone. So we've got a Ferrari being overtaken here. That's the 92 Porsche overtaking the Ferrari.
What a noise.
It's great.
Now riding on board with that screaming
That was
Porsche.
for position. That was for position. I've now found out. Kevin Est and Pierre Gardi, they're now running third and fourth.
That's what it's like to ride on board with that Porsche.
It's lovely, isn't it?
911 RSR through the fastest part of the circuit into the slowest part of the circuit.
Just a classification update there. The 95 Aston Martin with Richie Stanaway on board leads. Then it is the 71 Ferrari. Then it's these two cars we're watching
sync. We got the extra stop for the number 95 Aston, caused by the puncture they had much earlier on in the race, but they've recovered from that puncture and the subsequent repair work brilliantly.
Yeah, because they stopped for the puncture and then they had to stop again, didn't they?
Replaced the diffuser. Yeah. They have still. I asked Lee Gade last night while we were in the mid-evening stint about what the situation was there with the damage to the left rear corner. But the damage to the left rear corner is actually still there, so it was genuinely just diffuser that were changing, no other issues there.
So the 71 Ferrari now heads the Pro category, probably pure and simply because of pit stop strategies and timings. But what I'm trying to work out is that's the 51 Ferrari there. That is currently sat in 1, 2.
Porsche is driving away from him.
He is going away from him.
So Kevin Estray on board. Kevin's come up through various different ranks. He was mainly a Porsche man, then adopted by Andrew Capaldi and the McLaren CRS crew, and then given back to Porsche when the opportunity came for this factory seat. Kevin's setting the outright qualifying record around the Nürburgring.
He's on a personal best as well in Sector 1. Let's just have a listen again. I love it.
He's been told to give it the message. He's been told push on, close that gap. 11 seconds to Johnny Adam. Haven't seen much of Darren Turner on board, whether that's just because it's fallen in line with our stints, but Darren Turner with Johnny Adam in the 97 car.
I've just turned the volume up on the car noise. Now we're listening to it. It was a little bit low for my liking, so I've just turned it up a bit. Now, it must have got back, because we haven't seen any more. The 50 car was going slow somewhere, wasn't it? It's in the pits.
Back, but
it's in the pits, yeah.
Those guys just having a really troubled run. They look so strong. The pole sitter this afternoon, they didn't really shine through after that. You know, they started the week in a pretty troubled state when they walloped the wall coming through the karting corners on the inside. Who was on board that car when they had that incident? Christian Philippon, who is the bronze driver, managed to hit the wall on the inside. There in the very first session, they lost quite a lot of running. Got back out for the qualifying session on Wednesday night, and then subsequently had quite a good run through Thursday.
So the two rebellions there running 9.9 seconds, so just under 10 seconds apart. Prost and, how would you bring that home?
Besh. Matthias Besh.
Besh. Good job I asked you, because I wasn't going to say anything like that. It wasn't going to come out like that anyway, so Matthias Besh.
But Thomas Laurent is actually only 1.2 seconds behind Besh.
And so that was the fight we were watching.
Exactly.
Even though the graphic initially started on the two rebellions and then flicked to the next two, so that's them
the
there.
battle is 13 versus 38.
Yeah, which was is at the end of this line. Well, before the yellow headlights, it's these two, I think, coming towards us here.
And again, the 38 car has not had a trouble-free run so far. That's the Ollie Jarvis car. So at the first pit stop, they had starter motor troubles. They haven't recurred, so potentially a temperature issue there. But then later on, they managed to have, I'm pretty sure, a nose change. In fact, from my notes, I'm sure they've had a new nose after and off as well. So another one of these cars that's been delayed, but managing to run back at the front of the class.
What were we saying? Even though Ollie Jarvis isn't aboard that car, Laurent is aboard that car at the moment, but what were we saying? Ollie Jarvis is the type of person, he's been here, done it, got the t-shirt, done everything he needs to do in the manufacturer team-wise, finished on the podium. He will just kind of say, look guys, this is going to be one on getting through without any too many dramas, and we've just got to keep calm.
Fantastic driver lineup in that car though. Hoping Dunn knows what he's doing, been here, done it before, knows how to deliver the result. Very quick in his single seater days. Thomas Moore, less well known, but with the right coaching, seems to be doing a fantastic job. We saw him off earlier in the week, but again, he's in the car now. Solid times. See the WeatherTech board at Ferrari. Gonna rotate. Don't do that. Oh yes.
Townsend Bell on board.
T-Bell's a very safe and reliable pair of hands. He set some pretty quick times in qualifying on Thursday night.
Running in 5th at the moment in the AM category. Here it is.
What happened?
Oh,
They went up the inside of the
55.
Cameron
That was
car.
that was for position, that battle.
Marco Ciocci on board that car at the moment, the number 55 Spirit race car.
And the gap now between 3rd and 4th overall, the LMP 2nd and 3rd is 0.3 of a second, which is this. No, not that battle we're watching. No. That's another battle which has got a second. That's another battle. There's two battles in P2 for 2nd and 3rd and 3rd and 4th. Half a second between 2nd and 3rd and 1.3 between 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
And they're a lap between each other, so they're not those. The four of them are not close. They have a lap between them.
Townsend Bell bringing in that WeatherTech Ferrari. I suspect that was I'm tired, having a spin on me in that kind of affair.
Do we get away with one of those?
I had quite a nice little sleep over the last couple of hours
I
before
didn't.
coming in here.
I didn't. I was relaxing, but I didn't sleep. It wasn't the case I wasn't trying to sleep, but I didn't sleep. So, by the time I go to bed after this session, it would have been 24 hours because
we did warm up.
We did warm up, yeah. How did we end up doing that?
Oh, that was my fault. I
Oh, well.
volunteered us for that, didn't I?
That's all right. We're here. We may as well do it. That's my
exactly.
argument.
The
Get
more
on with
time
it.
that can be spent getting on with it, the better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we've well, you haven't because you've been having other stuff to do, but I kind of had a relaxing day yesterday and things like that. Oh, look at that, yeah. Now you see, if it was me,
Time.
I would put my crash helmet on so that no one could see me.
Why isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Gone. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the things that we were talking about as we see these atmospheric shots. You know, the mechanics do get a rest. Well, some of them get a rest.
But it's not the
Um,
comfiest place in the world, is
No,
it?
you make the best of what you can. But it's the race engineers on the pit wall. Those guys are the guys that get absolutely no rest whatsoever. They're there. They've got to be there on the end of the radio constantly for the drivers. You know, beyond a quick toilet stop, they're not allowed away from that box.
Which is quite amazing, really. The decisions they're having to make is quite amazing. 71 car in. This is the leader in Pro. GTE Pro. This is our leading car. It's a drinks bottle change and a windscreen strip
They're
pulled
on,
off,
yeah.
yeah.
Molina staying on board. Quick check of the brakes. They're doing a headlight tear off as well. Back on board with number 2, who's now pushing to come through up to 16th overall. Albamba on board still. They are now, where are we?
9 laps away from second place.
Yeah. So they've pulled a lap back in the last hour, which isn't surprising. If you look at
That's
the
what
times.
someone was calculating before. They can do a lap per hour on a P2 car.
But look at the times: 23.1 for Bamba, 26.5 for Tandy. So they're just trying to protect the number 1 car, and I don't think number 1 is going to be told to move over for the number 2 at any stage in this. It's going to be a case of, yeah, okay, we'll have a race once we get to the morning, but certainly they're pacing the Tandy car, and that makes me wonder whether we'll break the distance record. We were well on for breaking the distance record while we had the fight at the front between the Toyotas and the Porsches, but now that the Porsche have got this more comfortable position where they can back it off a little bit, I suspect that we may struggle to hit the distance record. New new set of softs on car number 38. Car number 38, Tongue on board.
Okay, so he was in a battle, wasn't he? Which he's now obviously just dropped out of. There's still that battle going on between the 35 Signatech car, followed by the 40 Graf car. That battle still rages out on track. 2.6 seconds between those two. Hoping Tongue heading towards us down the straight. I mean, they're not even going to, even if that number 2 car gets back up onto the podium, they're not going to fight. This car hasn't done anything wrong, so to speak. They've kept their noses clean.
It's about the championship now. You know, there were people saying as we came into the week, if the right Toyota won, the championship was very hard for Porsche to get.
Yeah.
Now the World Championship.
Oh, 49's off. That's your favourite car.
They've been doing okay. They've been keeping it out of trouble, but that's the outside of the Porsche curves. That's this new runoff area, which last year would have been a new tub job. Don't try and get it out there. It's not coming out. No point in spinning the wheels there. Many people have tried that one before now. The reason you stopped is because that's what the gravel track's there to do. So he's right on the edge of the tarmac runoff. They'll be able to push it forward. Yeah.
Oh, and then the tyre. Would that be a tyre going? Oh, that was flat spotting.
That was flat spots. That was I've got my foot so deep in the brake pedal that I'm through to the carcass of the tyre. The sparks we saw coming off the four corners
would be the metal, wouldn't they?
Yeah, the steel banding in these radial tyres, the reinforcement of the carcass of the tyre. The compound sits on top of the carcass.
That
so
car,
and then add the compound to the top.
That car currently the last of our runners.
I think that, in fairness, Miro Konopka and his crew, they're kind of here to learn, understand, see what's going on. The Lannon Racing crew from the UK are supporting that entry, and I think having seen some of the social media stuff that some of those guys have been doing, they're here for the beer to a degree. They want to understand what the event's about, and they're rumoured to be one of the customers for the LMP1 class next year. So I think it is come here, do the atmosphere. American Opera's been here plenty. He knows this race. He knows what it's about. But it's always been kind of an underlying come here and bring some paying drivers effort.
Enjoy it. But at the end of the day, yeah, I just said that they were the last running car currently, which is 54 cars that are running. But you know what? If they're still running at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, or Sunday afternoon, they'd have achieved a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might have had a few little dramas along the way, but they'd have had a ball and they'd have finished, which is something that currently sitting there 2 of the 3 Toyotas aren't doing.
Yes. It's a slow zone that's now been created to clear this up. Through the Porsche curves. It's a long old slow zone, this one, as they go through the whole way through the Porsche curves and then get released on the exit of karting. You see it there, the dash top left. They've got this onboard marshalling system, slow 80 kph, and that's controlled by race director as to what messages he gives there. He'll give safety car, he'll give safety car in, he'll give blue flags, he'll give yellow flags, red flags if they ever happen, slippery surface flags, all up there. So on board the drivers have got a live flagging system which for them to pay attention to. Certainly at night makes the world of difference.
Just loads of stuff. He's out of the slow zone, looking at up already. Poof. 3rd, 4th, 5th gear, 6th gear. Heading down towards the final chicane. Oh, he's coming into the pits. The number 1 car, the leader, is heading to the pits.
So Tandy will stay on board. This should be fuel only. Tandy, technically defending champion, didn't get the opportunity to defend his ground last year. Won the race once in 2015, sharing that car with Earl Bamber and Nico Huckelberg on being released from Force India for that weekend to come here and have a crack at it. That's the ARC brand.
So good.
it's
Look at
not.
it, shape.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Car 47, this says. Car 47, that is the...
Not the Bratislava.
no. I mean, to be fair, I saw that come up, but I didn't see the puncture bit. I just saw car 47 slow, and I thought they'd just got the 49
That's
car.
the Dallara of
See.
Senegal.
Senegatio. I wonder how cool it is to launch a car like that out of a snow zone and flat out. I bet it's amazing. The Nico.
In the back.
I bet it's fantastic. I really do. The 31 Rebellion is in the pits. It's on pit road. It's in the pits. Nico Prost on board that car as it drives in. This is the 86 Gulf Porsche. And windscreen clean. You see all the dirt and grime on that car. And I was told, I think it might be Peter de Brett told me last year, that these cars now that win the races, these big ones, the Audis, the Porsches, and then well, Toyota, because they never win it, and they never clean them. They go in the museum. But apparently now what they do to preserve it, they lacquer it
Yeah.
with all the dirt underneath it.
Typically, the race winners will end up going and running at Goodwood in a few weeks' time up the hill at the Festival of Speed. They all get an invite. And normally the cars are left dirty there. Porsche, the winning Porsche certainly was 2 years ago. And then yeah, get lacquered and put away. Ford had a problem last year in that the winning GT, they didn't have enough spares to be able to do that. They had to ship the car back to America as we see a Porsche nearly going off into the side of an Aston Martin. That was a very late lunch.
But that's
delay,
the
it's for position.
This is for position. It was nearly for the kitty litter.
It was.
But-
So no, Ford last year wanted to do that, and the car is now in the museum in Detroit. But the car had to do one race in America before it could be put in there, so
So
they
had-
had to clean it.
It didn't have Le Mans dirt on. Just for your information, 1.8 second split. The first three in Pro. Stanaway, Adam, and Est. Aston Martin, Porsche. Let's listen. There can be some big break.
Porsche in the toe there, but still not able to pull up to or alongside the Aston. So the Porsche delivering the lap time, different place in the lap. Look at the apex speed there. Porsche much quicker across the apex, riding back on board now. The Aston's going to stretch its legs. There we go. The Aston pulls away on the straight, but then the Porsche across the apexes just carries the speed so much better.
In corners, it's great, isn't it? Let's watch
It's
this.
mid-engine layout. The Porsche just hasn't got enough pace to pull alongside. Aston going away from us again as we ride on board with Estray. Full sixth gear, heading down to Mulsanne. The Aston just stretches its legs and onto the brakes
Glowing brightness from the Porsche.
through Mulsanne and the run now down to Indianapolis. They've got another car ahead of them.
That's the other Aston Martin. That's the battle.
That is 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3 in that shot.
And only 8 seconds behind them, Pierre Guidion, 51 Ferrari. So he'll be coming into
So-
shot about now.
Less than 10 seconds between the top four.
Shoot two, that's a Toyota mechanic. I think. So through Indianapolis now, run down to Arnage. Estray's wanting to get past, isn't he? And through these swiftly bits, the Porsche's got the legs on the Aston. Now the Aston will stretch its legs away as we come down to the Porsche curves. First right-hand flick through this lower left, very quick, slight left-hander for the first real corner. Here,
Look at it, it is
Through the
right
right.
there, into the slow zone.
yeah, absolutely. Got to just slow it down. And the yellow headlights you can see behind
what's interesting is the Johnny Adam cars, it goes into the slow zone, turns the big headlights off, like the spotlights that they've got in the front grille. And here we go again. Oh, he's got the jump on his teammate.
He has. Is that a mistake from Adam?
No, it's Stanaway who made the mistake.
What's going on?
I can't hear what is going on. The others all seem to think they're in the slow zone still.
Which they're not. And blue lights flashing away at the other. Look at this cluster of cars. So who's that coming in?
I have no idea.
That's the Porsche.
Yeah. But I'm just looking out the window, actually physically looking at the 97 car. Yeah. Johnny Adam has passed Stanaway off that restart, like off that slow zone.
So Estray comes down pit road, and Estray will be staying on board. This will be fuel only.
How dirty it is.
Yeah, I often wonder why people make white racing cars.
White racing cars are the best.
No.
Oh, they're lovely.
I had a white racing car.
Oh, they're
so I spent
beautiful.
my entire life cleaning it.
Oh, the 27.
Delara going back into the garage. Seeing the number 21 LMP2 car, Rosenquist, on board. Has no side light. Interesting to see if they make them fix that now. I suspect they will. It's on the Dragon Speed cars.
Yeah, white race cars are just fab. They are great. What does amaze me, slightly similar, is the colours of our leading LMP cars. The Toyota and the Porsche have the similar colour schemes.
Yeah, everyone complained about that.
When they
the
came
last
out,
2 years, you know, it's been, come on guys, can you not make one pink and one purple? Kevin Estray back on his way.
Yeah, here we go. Debris on track, zone 18 on the right-hand side. So, what's going on in the battles?
LMP2.
LMP2, there isn't. That battle kind of...
Well, we're owed a pit stop, I bet.
Yes, you're going to say that sorted it out, wasn't it? When Hoping Tung came, when he took over.
So when Besh gives us his pit stop, it's all going to be extremely close again.
Yeah.
Lots of yellow headlights, so lots of GTE cars running together as they come through the second chicane.
There's
So
actually
95 back on it.
Yeah, but there's three of them here. Look, there's three of them again.
Yeah, Greedy's caught up on
them. That is Stanaway being a bit asleep.
But what I don't understand is Pierre Greedy's taken 10 seconds out of them.
But they all got blocked up here, didn't they, with the P2 cars at the final
must
chicane?
be that Pierre Greedy got released from the slow zone whilst in it, or just before it happened. I think what actually happened was the slow zone ended while they were in it.
Yes.
And he didn't release, and that was him getting caught out there. Stanaway getting caught out by the slow zone ending. But the person who gained the most from it was Pierre Greedy, because he was still coming in to the slow zone
and didn't
so
really
he didn't have to slow. So that's closed that gap right up, and now we're going to see a fantastic battle. Can't wait for them to cycle through their stops, and then we'll have Kevin Estray running with them as well.
That's the second. And we're going to see the next one is the Ferrari. That's the first three.
Big opposite lock there from Pierre Greedy, coming through the apex of the left-hander at Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's Adam Stanaway, Pierre Guidi, and then Canan, but he's 25 seconds down.
The other car behind them is
somebody
an
else.
car.
Yeah, it's another car in there. So this is the Aston Martin teammates. Yeah, we were talking about this about 30 minutes ago about they'll just be told to kind of like hold station, but
didn't hold station when it came to somebody being asleep when the slow zone got lifted, though, did they?
Well, as you say, Stanaway would have been expecting to still be doing another 300 or 400 metres in it, but it ended by the organisers, and Johnny Adam was right on it. He was kind of like, whoa, we're off.
Yeah.
And Estre behind, because he got through as well. He followed Johnny Adam through.
So in the LMP2 class, we're seeing some charges on John-Eric Verne in the Orica Manor. Number 24 set a personal fastest lap, 3:29.8 last time round, and is now setting 2 green sectors. So he's obviously been told by the team, get on with it. We want an overall podium. Can we close these gaps down, please? Because he's a lap behind the leaders in class, and a stop behind as well. He owes us a stop.
Yeah, actually, I thought he owed us more. Yeah, just one.
One.
That was on board here with Anthony Davison. Oh, is Davison still on board it? He's now onto here. Yeah, Anthony Davison.
Page.
He's onto the second page now. He is on board.
23.5 for Davidson versus 27.5 for Tandy. Tandy going slower than the LMP2 qualifying time.
Davison pit road. I think that's. Oh no, it's not. No.
No, that's the Toyota.
Davison on pit road. Yeah. He might have enjoyed that, mightn't he?
I think
3:20.
Toyota will probably have said, go out and give us 18 hours of qualifying laps because we don't really care. You know, in terms of World Championship, this is important for them that the number 8 car stays well and truly in the fight and keeps collecting the points. But you know, as long as it finishes within, is it 75% of the race distance completed by the leader, then he's going to score full championship points for third place in the championship now, which is all that matters to Toyota.
Fuel going in. Drinks bottles changed.
Still fuel going in. Away he goes. Electric starting and then onto the internal combustion engine as it goes down. Number 7. We see here the number 7.
Well, this is the car that's out.
This is the replay of the moment we lost the car. Jumping off the side pod.
That was Kobayashi. That was at the first thing was at 44 minutes past. Then it was 11 minutes.
Now we're seeing the number 9 car destroying itself. Frankly.
Which was only 15 to 16 minutes after the 7 car stopped. That moment happened, that Lapierre moment happened on the restart from the Kobayashi stopping,
Yeah.
didn't it? It all kind of was rolled into one. So that's how we end up with only one Toyota currently sat on an outlap in 48th position with 12 hours, 12 minutes to go.
I imagine Toyota will be cycling the crews now to try and keep people fresh, try and keep motivation up, make sure that the guys are all getting well rested, because it'll be pretty hard to motivate themselves now to carry on through the rest of this race. They've got to keep the championship in sight though. They need to make sure that number 8 car's collecting the points.
And they don't stay on site, do they, the mechanics? So would it be, tell you what, some of you go back to the hotel, kind of have a shower, get yourself sorted.
Absolutely. If I was team manager down at Orica who are running that car, I'd be making sure that, you know, go on guys, let's have you back at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we can swap the guys across the cars and give everyone a fair chance, get everyone back for 3 o'clock.
There's no point in just annoying everybody and keeping them there for no reason.
No, absolutely. So they'll cycle through.
Watching this battle in GTE Pro, that is the 3 of them, all in a line. Johnny Adam, Stanaway, and Guidi. They are basically 9/10 of a second. Is that right? Am I looking at that correctly? 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds exactly.
Between the 3 of them.
And again, the same thing with the Ferrari. Look, you know, the Aston stretch their legs away on top speed, but again, the Ferrari much better through the corners, through the slow stuff, closes down onto the back of them, and then they run away again as they come to the straights. But that's what balance of performance is all about. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to equalise the cars around a lap. sitting in the toe now.
This will be Stanaway, won't it? Because that's an Aston in
Yes,
front,
sorry,
yeah. Car 38's pit stop under investigation. That is the Jackie Chan car. That's the Ollie Jarvis
That is
car.
the Jarvis car. Those guys don't seem to be able to make any luck either. I wonder what that's for. To be something like a second gun over the line. That was the car that took soft tyres and Tongue stayed in. So it's going to be something like, somebody leaving the gun. Over 13 Rebellion comes in from the lead of the LMP2 class, second overall. Matthias Besch. He should be staying in that car. As we see an LMP2 car, that's the Villabora Corsa Dallara, which we saw off shortly, not that long ago, running past us, stretching the gap out. Johnny Adams sacrificing his run for the traffic, or sorry, Richie Stanaway sacrificing his run to let the traffic through.
They've got one more behind them as well. There's a driver change there going on in the 13 car. That is got to be Cannell getting in, yeah? Is he in that car? I'm just trying to find out. No. That's the other one. I'm looking at the wrong car on my board. That's got to be Heinemeister Hansen.
So Heinemeister Hansen had been in. He'll be out the car now, or am I?
No, because it wasn't Piquet. It was a black crash helmet.
It was, yeah.
So it's got to be the
Hansen,
yeah. It has to be, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, sorry, I'm 9 hours out of bed.
Yeah,
because it was Heinemeister Hansen in the car when we saw it go off earlier in the race, and I was thinking that was during this stint, but it wasn't. That was just as it was. The sun was starting to set.
I was looking at completely the wrong car. I was looking at the 31, not the 13.
Yeah, it is Heinemeister Hansen in the car now, so he's on his out lap.
Yeah, that's promoted Hoping Tongue in the 38 car up into third on basically strategy and pit stops.
Yeah, they've both given us 18 stops, so that's fair. And then
is that okay? Well, they've now under investigation. Remember.
Yeah. Nico Prost though is where's Nico sitting? So 17 seconds, and he doesn't owe us a stop. So that's now genuine. We've now got a 17-second gap Prost to Tongue, and then looks like a 30-second gap back again to Heinemeister Hansen, with the stops having shaken through. So they've managed to stretch that quite nicely. Heinemeister Hansen, one of the better silvers. He does have a nasty habit of going off, as we saw earlier, but he does have the pace.
These three are clear as well now. These three are on their own. The car behind, I think, must be an AM car, but those three, Adam Stanaway and Perguidi, are on their own and shouldn't have any traffic for a little bit. That's the Ferrari we're on board with them, I think.
Number 2 gives us a pit stop. So now up to 16th overall, still 16th overall, lap 167 for that car. Leader on 185 in, and we're going to see him come out. That looks like the lanky figure of Brendan Hartley getting in. Don't forgive me for calling him that.
He's tall though, isn't he?
He is. You see it when they're doing the straps, how tall he really is in terms of they come up over his shoulders, where with the other guys they come across the top of the shoulder. So this car, having suffered a MG UK failure earlier in the race, they're having to strip the car off to change that, go in through the cockpit and change both front corners, losing, it was more than an hour for sure, to that as he heads off.
The two dots aren't signalling second overall, they're signalling second in LMP1, which it is. It's a Porsche 1-2 in LMP1, because there's only 3 of them left, and the Toyota is third.
47th overall for a Davidson Toyota. Davidson 3:22.7 last time through. Hartley's in lap 3:28, but Nick Tandy in the 26s. So good seeing the tyres there, number 2. 7-lap-old medium's gone on that car. So not brand spankers. Surprised to see them putting mediums on at this stage. I'd have thought now the transition would have happened to softs, but they obviously feel there's enough tarmac temperature to get away with running the.
This is a
the
position
mediums.
change here because
Aston on Aston,
yeah,
just making sure he's seen him. Flash, 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 and through he goes. Flash there. So again, that position back, Richie Stanley. It's Negrao getting out of the Alpine.
1.5 seconds still between the top 3 in this battle. Now, hang about. There's a Ferrari.
It's a Clearwater car,
Okay.
or not Clearwater, Spirit of Race.
But there's the Ferrari at the back is really close now. The third Ferrari.
Yeah, it has been for quite a few laps.
Stanaway
Yeah,
he's taken a second out. Now he's passed. He's taken a second
yeah.
away, where they were only split by 1.5 before.
Been told to get on with it, hasn't he? You know, get past and get on. So Pierre Greedy now onto the back of Johnny Adam. The Clearwater Ferrari getting out of the way as they go up through the first right-hander. Get the car stopped for Dunlop. Carry a lot of speed across the first apex, slower across the apex of the right-hander. Away he goes. The headlights you can see there are him being chased for position.
So that's second, third, and then that is an Am car, number 60.
That's one of our the bling car that Louise rather likes.
Yeah.
The Clearwater racing car, number 60.
Likes a bit of bling. The 34 Tockworth Motorsport car just coming onto pit road.
Those guys having a pretty solid run. The plucky little team from Leeds. Where are they?
That's what I'm looking for. I can't. What cars? Oh, they're the 11th overall.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd said to them you can be running 11th overall at Le Mans, Phil Hanson, the youngest driver here, first time at Le Mans, Nigel Moore having nurtured him through. I mean, last year they were doing Britcar. You know, they were doing a club level endurance championship in the UK, and here they are
At Le Mans.
At Le Mans,
The big.
having earned the entry. You know, with a Formula One driver sharing the car with them, Perrin Chandok in that car. I think that'll be Nigel getting out and Karun getting in.
Stanaway flashing his lights at a Ferrari in front of him, the 65 car, which is the Scuderia Corsa car in amateur category. Stanaway, he has had the hurry up. He's taken 2.2 out of his teammate Johnny Adam there, and then Adam has the Ferrari behind him by 1 second. So that is the battle right at the end of that tail of traffic that we just saw as we click to basically the halfway point of the race. 12 hours done, 12 hours to go, and it is the number 1 Porsche of Nick Tandy who is at the wheel, who is leading, followed by the 31 Rebellion in LMP2, and Hoping Tung then in third in the 38 Jackie Chan DC racing car. That is correct. Two LMP2 cars on the official podium. The next, there's only 3 LMP1 cars running now, and that is 2 Porsches and 1 Toyota. Leading the GT Pro category is what the race we've just been looking at, and that is the Aston Martin, the 95 Aston Martin of Stanaway. He's out front. He's got 2-second advantage from Johnny Adam in the 97 Aston Martin, followed by very closely 0.8 of a second on the halfway point. That is a total of 2.9 seconds between the top 3 GT Pro, exactly halfway through this 24-hour race, and that's the 51 Ferrari Pierre Guidi on board that car. The GTE AM category, as we get a beautiful shot of the moon. That is the 84 Ferrari, and they have a laps advantage over the 90 Aston Martin. And the odd die-hard, whether they're awake in that grandstand, there's maybe 20 odd people sat in that grandstand above the pits. There's a few more further down, but whether they are awake, I'm unsure. But the number 8 Toyota, Anthony Davison, is definitely awake. He's basically been sent out to just do whatever he can. Currently lying 47th overall, having had to have major changes to the hybrid system in the car. 3:24 is his last lap, basically running 2 seconds quicker than anybody else on track. Brendan Hartley, his last lap time was an out lap, so I can't give you a comparison there. But the LMP1 classification is Tandy, Hartley, Davison, and 46 places split those 3 cars.
Number 8 Toyota coming down the Mulsanne Straight, clearing lots of traffic. Just looking at the lap times and looking at how long it's really going to take to catch that back. They are pulling in
What
on
laps
average 4 seconds per lap.
He's on 158.
202 seconds.
20 laps to make up to get into podium place. 20 laps. He's not going to.
Not going to do it.
He's going to take. He's going to get 12 more. He can gain 12 laps on what's ahead of him. 158.
Yeah.
158. 170 laps. So that can see him around about 14th place ish.
Yeah. He's not going to do it. That said, I'm remarkably surprised by the reliability of these LMP2 cars, these new LMP2 cars so far. They are looking pretty strong. Certainly the Orecas. I mean, the Oreca is an evolution of the 05 Oreca that it's the same chassis. People have carried the chassis over the tub, the monocoque itself. They've got a lot more power, different drivetrain, different bodywork. But fundamentally, the structure is tried and tested. Front suspension is what it is. It was designed at the correct 2017 regulation width from the outset. The cars being slightly narrower than they were, and the Orecas and the Alpines, therefore, kind of expecting them to be there. Just going to hear from the Ford number 68.
Joey Hand aboard. This is a battle.
Told he could have +1 on boost.
Could you hear that?
I heard that. He can have +1 on boost, and having had +1 on boost to get away from Jordan Taylor. So he was asking who it was that was behind him. Wanted to know who the guy in the car was that he was racing. So Jordan Taylor, 1.6 seconds behind him. He can see the headlights. He just wants to make sure that he knows Jordan's won for a last-minute lunge. So. Let's see, Jordan's got the bit between his teeth. Those guys are pushing on towards the back of the GTE Pro class, but still on the lead lap. They're just two minutes behind the leaders. So, we've now got on the lead lap in there the entire top 10 in class. Yes, because right down to Richard Westbrook in the 69 car, everybody's on the same lap.
This is Fred Makovici. He's got 1 second, 1.3 seconds over the Ferrari behind him. And this is about, I didn't hear that team radio. It didn't come through on my headphones. So
hopefully someone can have a look at that in the feedback for us, because yeah, then you're going to need that team radio as this battle goes on in the
I've
GTE
heard everything else
Pro
until that
class.
point. So I mean, let's just see. Let's see. But so 1.3 seconds between third and fourth in Pro. 4 seconds between first and second. Between seventh and eighth, there's 1 second.
Yeah.
So
Johnny Adam doesn't owe us a stop. It's that everyone else has had an additional stop. Coming down through the Forest S's. Brake now for the left. Take just enough curve on the left to not send the car across the right. Not run too wide through Tertre Rouge. Brake, run it through, leaving it up a gear, making sure that he can carry the speed in the daylight. I don't think he'd be getting away with that in terms of track limits. That was 4 wheels over onto the runoff on the way out. But holding that extra gear to save fuel and keep the engine from screaming as it comes through there. On a qualifying lap, he would have been down a gear and really letting it rev. This is the 22 car, I think.
it's a TDS car, 28.
28, yeah, away he goes.
Currently sat there, 12th overall and 11th in P2.
Keep getting caught out by the fact that the G-Drive sponsored cars are split in terms of teams. They've always run together until this year. Last year they ran with the Jode Sport team. Prior to that they've been with the ADR Delta team and somewhere else in between as well. But Roman Rusnov, the guy behind that G-Drive outfit, you know, it's the money that they give him that pays for these 2 cars to run in the World Endurance Championship. But not Roman's finest day today, or yesterday, when you know, he's had two issues caused by himself in the first hour that's taken that car out of the running.
At least it was the man who pays the bills.
Yeah, I think the problem Roman has is, you know, he's an employee of G-Drive, and even though I think he's now a gold driver, but yeah, he's responsible. He's still got to go and answer to somebody. So this is what happened, and this is where we are.
Hoping Tongue is on an out lap, just dropped down a place to 4th overall and 3rd in P2, but he's on an out lap, just done a pit stop. He's 21 seconds away from Heino Hansen in 3rd, which is obviously 2nd in P2. Nicholas Prost leads by a minute and 3 seconds. What is going on in the battle? Stanaway 4.8, nearly 4.9 away from Johnny Adam, and Fred Mikovanki took a bit of time out of. Now that was a traffic issue, because we saw the Ferrari, the 71 Ferrari of Molinare. They just got caught with a P2 car in the S's at the Dunlops, just at the Dunlop corners, and it just gave them that gap. So we'll be interested to see if the Ferrari comes back on that. And Kevin Escher is only 8 behind, 7 now, behind 7.9 behind in 5th place. So what is that? A minute and 3 between the top 5, a minute and 12 if you want to go to the top 6 in GTE Pro.
Watching the GTE battle here. So that's Ewan Hankey on board the Beech Dean Aston Martin, number 90.
And the young Porsche driver in the 77 car is 13.6 seconds behind, though. I'm trying to see if there's any other closer gaps than that. There is another closer gap, which is
McNeil on Aaron Scott for the McNeil and WeatherTech sponsored 488, and Aaron Scott in the Spirit of Race green and white car, the Duncan Cameron own and run car.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I was looking just a little bit further down, which was the 83 and the 65 car, which had 5.9 seconds in, the 91 cars in.
Vivek that seems like a short stint.
That did seem like a
correctly.
short stint, because that wasn't long ago we were talking, and they
Unless time was just flying because we're having fun, but that doesn't feel long enough. Because Pile came out of that car, but they've only fueled it.
he had a set of tyres go on, didn't he, before? That didn't seem very long.
Out he goes. No apparent issue.
Drops him down a couple of places. Christina Nilsson is on board that car. 5.6 seconds away from a Ferrari 83, which is the
Nick Johnson driven car.
TH Racing Ferrari. Yellow headlights, I think.
Tracy Crone and Nick Johnson, I believe, is this their 13th Le Mans together?
Might be able
They
to.
certainly hold the record.
Do they?
Yeah, for most pairings. Last year here in an LMP2 car, decided to go back to a trusted old Ferrari again for this year.
Yeah, well, this is a 12th start. He's raced every year with Tracy Crone. So, and you know what? Tracy Crone currently 278th on the Forbes 400 list for the wealthiest Americans.
Yeah, Tracy makes an awful lot of money out of holes in the ground in Texas.
Yes, didn't quite put it like that on my sheet, but yes, he's a drilling supervisor for Mobil Oil.
Yeah,
So,
he makes the holes for them to suck the oil out of. That is how Tracy's made his
fair.
millions, if not billions.
Not got a problem with it. If someone wants to do it, they can go do it, make some money, and come motor racing.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
So we're just radio with Rebellion 31, Nick Prost. Okay, so he thinks it's left front puncture, but then something is broken, So I don't know whether he actually knows what's going on with the car, but we're expecting it in the box.
He's got a minute and one lead, and now my radio button's working. I don't know, I must have turned it off at some point, but it's now working again, so I've turned it back on.
He's coming through.
But I'm like a racing driver, I don't make mistakes, so somebody else must have done that.
It's only us race engineers that make mistakes. Engineers and team managers take the blame for everything. We haven't yet seen on the screen 31 coming back, but you can hear on the radio some flapping going on.
Animated, this is him here,
Yeah.
in pit road.
Okay, I don't think it's a puncture, Nick. The speed you're coming back at. So that's on the pit lane, Johnny Adam. New set of boots going on. Don't know if we've got Johnny still in the car. I suspect not. Can't see him anywhere. No.
They're telling him to get out of the way because they've got a feeling someone's right behind him, not sure who.
I think that was to let the 31 car swing in because 31, the Aston crew just ahead of the
Darren Turner
so
in that
DT
car.
goes in. First time I've seen DT in the car, but I'm sure this is his second stint. Right, they're fueling the car, which is normal, while they wait. Nobody else other than the driver man can touch the car at this stage. Right, fuel off. Car's going in the garage. Skates are under. Spin it round. In she goes.
Okay.
This now means more people can work on the car. So, are they going to take the nose off? Be a pretty. I would have popped the nose off. Yeah, they're going to pop the nose off. Give it a kick. Pull the nose away. Nose is quick release. Got to get tangled up with the refueling hose. Careful there. Those Staubli refueling valves are somewhat expensive. Having a good look around the front suspension.
Some shouting going on.
Just trying to hear Ian Smith now coming in right rear corner of the car in very, very experienced race engineer. Designed the creation. Was an evolution of the Reynard, driven by Nick Manassian here back in the LMP1 privateer days, and been with the Rebellion team for an awfully long time now. When he creation packed in, moved across with Bart Hayden and the late Hugh Hayden, Bart's father, to look after the LMP1 efforts there.
It's about 57 minutes old, this tweet, but I've just found it, picked it up on it because I've only just picked up my phone. But Simon is back from the medical centre. It's Manor team. Simon is back from it, shaken and bruised, but he is back.
It was a big hit, that's for sure. I'd still like to understand what happened, if it was puncture related. So Ian Smith there, down on his knees, looking in at the whatever it is, but we certainly don't have news yet, and at this moment in time don't have a pit reporter to go and find out for us. They're taking the rear deck off as well, haven't taken the opportunity to have a look. Don't blame them for spending a little bit more time on this. Tongue's gone through, so they're now fourth in class. They've got another lap before Rag comes through. It'll take them a lap to get that car back together from the state it's in, but Ian Smith there showing his hand, asking for whether it's steering lock or brake pedal to be depressed. Nose ready to go back on.
I mean, he's dropped from what was second overall to fourth overall at the minute.
Yeah, but absolutely the right thing to be doing. They're taking the opportunity. They're doing something at the back of the car. Phil Jose there on the working on the gearbox. That's the download lead stretching back into the garage. Wheels going back on. Think rear deck is on. 95 complete service. Richie Stanaway. I don't think Richie will be staying on board as we trip over the line. Yep, Nicky team in. So full service for those guys.
So that's the 71 Ferrari back out front. 6.8 seconds ahead of Kevin Est in the 92
And that's
Porsche.
now genuine order. So they're now covered by 16, 18 seconds, first four, I think. Just wait for him to come across the first beam, and then we'll get a true gap. But Molina leads by 6 from Estre. Pierre Guidi another 9 behind him. Nicky Team will cross the beacon very shortly, and then we'll get a true gap on Nicky Team. Another 10.5 behind. So 25 seconds now covering the first 4 in the GTE Pro battle, and that's genuine all stops given. .31 Rebellion looks slow.
Oh, yeah, but it's...
So Prost on his out that.
do you think it's slow?
Yes, I do. I don't know whether he's just
Yeah,
taking his time to come back up to speed, but the car's back out and running. Prost stayed on board even though they did full service. He knew what the feeling was that he had, so he would stay on board to try and understand it. They may have found something on a tyre. We're going to hear from Rebellion 31 now that he's back out on track. They've lost their flat shift, so that was what they were doing at the back of the car. so they're going to have to lift for upshifts, which is why we saw him going slow on the way out, and what seems strange with the blipping and the flames coming out the exhaust. So we got that one right.
Is that something that they might be able to fix at another point or not?
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be every chance that's a sensor issue. There's no reason why the system would stop blipping for him. So it's on the downshift, he's got a heel and toe. Good old-fashioned heel and toe, which these guys don't ordinarily have to do. Normally they can just straight left foot brake. So brake with their left foot, throttle with the right foot. It'll probably still be left foot braking. You won't be needing to use the clutch on the downshift, but it'll have to be on the brake and then blipping on every paddle pull to match the revs to the gearbox to the engine to stop the rear axle locking as he brakes down. That's something that, as you come up through the lower formula, you learn how to do. You know, you learn how to heel and toe and match the revs on every gear change. It's something that I firmly believe that all these youngsters should be taught, and unfortunately the ones that jump into F4 and things like that don't have to. Car does it for them, but you know, I've come up through the ranks of having to do it. You've got to do it and match it perfectly. We're going to hear from 31 again, and very shortly. Exactly what we were just talking about there. So it's a wheel speed sensor issue that they've got, which is what's causing the problem. And he's just confirming that he doesn't need to clutch to shift down. He wouldn't need to clutch to shift down as long as he matches the RPM. If he doesn't match the RPM, then he needs to clutch to shift down, but because otherwise the rear axle will lock. So
he will spin.
Good old-fashioned driving techniques, which I do hope that we should make all these young drivers that go and learn to heel and toe on a skid pad somewhere.
Just looking at the pro category, because that seems to be the one, and just mixing around and things. But 25.39 seconds is the gap between 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. 25 seconds between the top 4 cars. And then there's a bit of a gap down to, well, it's actually 32 seconds between the top 6 if you wanted, top 5, sorry, if you wanted to go a bit further. And Nico Prost back out on track. We've been hearing him, he's got a slight issue. He's dropped from 2nd place to 4th. And about 6 minutes he was in the bits.
In all honesty, I wouldn't expect him to lose any lap time with that problem. If it's a wheel speed sensor issue, they will probably try and fix it at some stage. If they get an opportunity when they come to do brakes, for instance, it would make sense to go and do that sensor. So let's see what they do. It will help the reliability of the car. All these systems give good reliability. Number 1 on and out lap. We're going to hear from them now. Brand new medium tyres on that car. Clear message there, wasn't there? Just smoothly around. Let's bring it home. They don't need to be doing anything spectacular and setting the timing screens alight. Andre Lotra on board now. Tandy away for some sleep. They know what the mission is. Mission is bring it home.
And that's a fair mission, a 9-lap lead that they've got at the moment. Lap. This is the 13 Rebellion. This car now in 2nd place overall and leader of P2 has 14.8 seconds ahead of Hoping Tongue in the 38 car. So
yeah, Rags just a lap further back than that in the Alpine. That car having had problems early on, I think 35 Alpine. So they'll be pleased. Sure, 35 has had contact with somebody at some stage. Looking back from the notes. Lots of nice atmospheric shots here. Lots of sleepy mechanics. Local time now, nearly 3:30 in the morning. What an exciting first hour we had when we arrived after midnight. The first hour and a half, we couldn't have imagined what we were going to see. AF Corsa there.
It's a driver change, isn't it? This was leading. This car leading coming in.
Yeah, Sam Bird getting in, isn't it?
I'm not sure, is it?
So Miguel Molina out, that's for sure.
Puts Kevin Est into the lead of the pro category. 8.5 second lead coming across the line.
Now we start doing the tyres. Just trying to catch the eyes and see if it is Sam. Pretty sure it is.
Oh, this cameraman's quite...
This cameraman needs to just get out of the way.
Yeah, that's a couple of times he's now been bumped into by either drivers or mechanics.
Yeah. These guys have a mission to do. They need to be left to do it.
Yeah, you've got very expensive, good camera lenses on those cameras. Use the lens. Just stand back another metre and use the lens rather than trying to get right in on that to do it. Let's see when it goes across the pit lane. It was a 7 to 51. No, it was 7. Where's it gone? It is Sam Bird.
Yeah, Sam's on board now.
Basically, that's how close it all is.
That's how close it is, yeah.
I mean, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. First to 9th, just with a pit stop, a full service pit stop.
It's the nicest feeling though, getting in a car, new tyres, out to push. Now Sam's going to, I would think, quadruple stint that now. So he'll do 3 fuel stops. See what he can do to bring that car further up the order within the GTE Pro class.
That was on board with our leader, the 92 Porsche. It's completed 171 laps at the moment. And this is the 60... Is that 60? 61. I was waiting to see the 51, so I was a bit... something very fast goes past it. So 19 seconds between the top 3.
On the screen there, TF Sport, Tom Ferrier's team. Ewan Hankey on board the car at present. I think it's going to be fuel only. I remember Ewan karting back at Clay Pigeon many moons ago when we were very young. He's been mentoring Sami Gulick, who's the man behind that car.
I never raced there. I did hear of the place. That is our leader in the AM category, and Van Torth, is that how you pronounce his name?
Van Tor, yeah.
He's done a big shift.
Yeah, brother of Laurent Van Tor, the factory Audi driver. He's got a lot of pace in him, and everyone's always said to me, little brother, and he's not that good, but I tell you what, this week he's shown some real pace, Dries Van Tor.
And he's done a real big shift. He's been in that car as long as we've been in here, I think.
He has, yeah. No, he's on the limit of driver time for sure. We did see Rob Smith in it earlier when we first came in, but it's been a long old stint.
13 Rebellion in here. This is just a normal start. Yeah. For Motorton into second place overall and first in P2. Master Hansen in just dropping down to third at the minute. He does have a lap on the next car, so he should be fine. Just looking down, Chen in the 37 car just on pit road as well now.
So the DC Racing cars that number 13 Tongue, they are run by Jota Sport, Sam Hignett's crew, who were G-Drive last year, and prior to that ran Simon Dolan and of course Harry Ticknell in the Zytec LMP2 car very successfully.
Windscreen clean on this 37 car.
David Cheng staying in. Pierre Rag.
36 cars, Roman Demar on board, and that hasn't had the best of weekends. That was in the garage having some repairs done, and then they got it going, but just a few mistakes for that car. That car was in the gravel quite early on, wasn't it? Dropping them down as well, quite a few minutes in the gravel, not far into the race. That's the 36 car I'm talking about, not the 35 that's just come out of the pits. So 11 and a half hours to go. 3:30 in the morning. Well, in France at Le Mans, 3:30 in the morning. Wherever you are in the world, it's going to be various times, and they're still going at it. There's been quite a lot of drama in the hours of darkness at Le Sarthe tonight, mainly to Toyota. They were the big incident involving cars 24 and 84 in the pit lane under investigation. 24 and 84. 24 is the Manor.
Yeah, with Hirsch on board, and 84 is
Seemed quite funny.
Will Stevens in the class leading
Yeah.
Ferrari 488 JMW car.
Okay, driver change there in the 8 car. Davison out, having just Nakajima going in.
Look at all the pickup on the tyres there, lots of
Just
rubber
on the
pickup
run
on
through the pit lane.
Yeah. Those balls that are sitting on top of the tyres are bits of other people's tyre that have been thrown off, and as he's come across into the pit lane, it picked up by the hot tyre, the cold blocks of rubber, and then you've got to spend the time getting those cold blocks of rubber away from the tyre to get down to your compound that you're actually running on once you exit the pit lane.
Is it Jonathan Hershey in the 24 car that's under that investigation? He did some circuit racing, then disappeared off to do some rallying, because I interviewed him when he was rallying, and then he come back to circuit racing. Fuel rig just being hung back up.
United Auto Sport car,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
leading Ligier. Owen on board that car still. Putting in a really very solid stint on board the United Auto Sport Ligier. The Pen of Doom's just come out.
Yeah, we haven't been updating it, so I've got to do it for when the boys get back in. I've got to remember who's out. 7 and 9, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've still got the number 8 Toyota running.
Pen of Doom's run out. That's not a lot of use. I'm going to find another one. 7 and 9. This one might be better. That's a
So the dual Hirsch versus Mattelli in the LMP2 class. Big difference between their best laps, but that's best lap for the car, not the driver, remember? So we've got 0.7 a second in it as they run off down towards Indianapolis. They're going to try and duke it out down here. No, not yet.
I've updated the spotter's guide.
Nakajima just taken over the number 8 Toyota from Anthony Davidson. So Nakajima in, Davidson out, new tyres, full load of fuel. But as we said, don't think that they've got enough time left in this race at the pace they're running to come anywhere near the overall podium as things stand with the LMP2 pace.
I think it was 14th. I think it was 14th that we thought they might get to. That was as high up, without any retirements, which we're still obviously just over halfway, 12 and a half hours into it, so you never know. Anything can happen here. Now, what kind of times is Prost setting? Remember
He's not struggling that much. 37.2 last time round, I don't think is reflective of what he's been doing. If you look, Mattelli's been doing 36.3. Okay, you would expect Nico Prost to be a little bit quicker than Mattelli, but not that far off. Tung did a 3:30.7, but Let's see. Let's watch what he's doing over the next couple of laps rather than judging on that one.
This is on board the leader of the race, Andre Lotterer, in this car, the number 1 Porsche in number 1 position.
Harvesting there the energy, that whine you hear, is it recharging the battery from the front motors. Number 1 comes through, away he goes, up out of Arnage.
Just looking through social media as we watch, and picture of the number 9 car on a flatbed truck as it basically heads back towards the paddock on the back of the pits.
Beautiful watching these Porsches come through Porsche curves, soaring a little bit of the wheel there. Taking 7th gear on a run down into the Ford chicane.
Hoping Tugger's in second, setting a personal best in the first sector.
Trying to get a gap, I suspect.
He's got 58 seconds, hasn't he? But
Yeah.
obviously, the more gap you can get from here on in, yes, there will be another safety car, I suspect.
They're slightly out of sync, those guys, so it's not quite as it looks on the screen, because we saw in the first hour a lot of the LMP2 teams decided to pit early to get out of sequence, break the sequence, and that's exactly what the Rebellion team did.
Leader of Pro, Kevin Ashton, the Porsche, has just dropped into the pit lane. And see, he was only just in front of the Pierre Guidi car. That's already changed now. So the 51 Ferrari back in front in Pro. Nicky Team will go past as well. Darren Turner will go past. And potentially, Durrani will go past as well. That's how close it all is. We did see Sam Bird dropping from 1st to 9th, didn't we, when he changed?
We did. Watching the number 1 car again. I just want to look at the LMP2 times again. So Prost and Heinemar Hansen on board both of the Rebellions. 35.5 last lap round, identical time. So Prost not losing that much, but that does make Tung's time look seriously impressive. Take 6 seconds out of them last time around. Extended his gap by 6 seconds.
Tung was when I say only, he was less than 2 seconds off Andre Lotterer
And the leading
at the
Porsche.
leading Porsche. So the 92 car is now back on the floor and is released from the pit box onto the pit lane and out. And that car currently now has dropped down to 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And actually 8. Sam Bird getting it back. Driver change in the 63
Gordon
car.
Taylor coming out. I didn't catch the helmet going in.
Who could it be? 63 car, yeah? Magnussen or Garcia?
Didn't look like Magnussen's frame.
Right, well, I have to say, I haven't seen Magnussen in that car while I've been in the box. I've seen Garcia in that car, I think, while I've been in the box. So, at some point, so I'm not sure.
Normally tell if it's K-Mag.
Look at that
From the
debris on the
right.
front of it. Dear me.
This has got a long way to go in GT, bro. Any one of those manufacturers has still got an extremely good chance of winning this race, and I think it still will have in the last hour. I think it's going to be the class to watch as we close in at the end. I think it's not going to be the race of attrition we've seen elsewhere, and it's all going to be about managing the fuel strategy from the point where we kind of see the sun rising and say, right, okay, how do we minimise the number of pit stops to the end, assuming everyone can run problem-free.
Well, the top 6 in that category are split by just under 48 seconds, and in that car, in that section, we've got a Ferrari, Aston Martin, Ford, Porsche, Ford. Then Sam Bird is 30 seconds away from that in another Ferrari. So,
It's still an early race.
yeah, I mean, a minute and 30 sees the top 8 or 9. Yeah, we are. We're looking at Yeah, top 8 by a minute and 30, which is not a lot at all. So number 2 car comes back out and releases that amazing amount of power back onto the track. The number 2 car currently sitting 16th place overall. Brendan Hartley on board still. Medium tyres. They've done 11 laps, each of those tyres.
Just shows though how high the tyre temperature must still be. The fact they've not felt the need to go to the softs.
Because I was going to say Louise, it was Lena said that you wouldn't go, when we were talking to her, you wouldn't go to the mediums yet. That would tend. I heard somewhere else talking outside. Needs to drop. Just before we came in.
Yeah.
So about 11:30 she was talking. She said it needed to drop to go to a soft. You'd be looking at another 10-degree drop in temperature to go to. And that's what she was saying. But
so Ford 67 team radio now.
Okay, mate, so you're going to be focusing in a lap and a half. Just start relaxing your hands a bit, because we know you're suffering from hand cramps. So just start easing those.
Pipo Durrani being reminded by Dave Wilcock there that he needs to relax so that he can actually get himself off the steering wheel by the sounds of that.
yeah, I was thinking that's a strange thing if you're getting out of the car. I mean, but currently sat in 4th place in that Ford. Yeah, I mean, I could understand that message coming in halfway through a stint or something. Just
Just relax.
Just relax it.
Make sure you.
But when he's on his in lap, I just but maybe I don't know something that they do. So
Pipo Durrani's obviously too relaxed if he's getting cramps in his hands while he's driving around this place. Obviously not enough blood flow.
well, yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. I mean, 4th place at the moment. He's got Fred McAvanky behind him, 6.7. That will go past. So they'll drop, as we've kept seeing. As we said, it's a real up and down situation there. He'll drop through 4 or 5 places. Andy Prio, that is, getting ready to go in. Just checking that is his car.
It is.
It is his car, yeah.
Ticknell, Prio and Durrani.
The 38 car on pit road. That is our leader of P2 and in P2 of overall classification. Hoping Tongue back in.
Should be staying in for at least one more. He's had tyres halfway through the stint. I'm intrigued to know what tyres he took, whether that was going to a soft or not. Ride back on board with the 67 through the second chicane, flick it to the right and then full gas through the left and off down.
Something I've noticed on this car. This is a Ford, yeah? It's a Ford
Yeah.
67. Where has their green and their
I think
luminous lights
slowly
gone?
they've all died as the night's gone on. They had them at the start of the night.
Yeah, because they on that black
Central
metal.
reinforcement on the windscreen.
You better wake up, boys. Your man's coming in. He's on his way in.
There's 2 crews in effect in the Ford camp. They've got the Ganassi crew, and then the other side of the wall, the Ford Performance Multimatic crew. So
Let's hope that's the other crew there.
yeah, exactly. All being run under the auspice of George Howard Chapel in reality. But yeah, the wet crew and the Alms crew, two different teams. Breaking down through there into Indy. Some strange noise there on the gear shift. Almost a
back
rattle.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. It was that kind of sounded like gear chatter. It was.
It didn't seem to just for me there. There just seemed to be a bit of labouring as well. But Hopington remaining and consolidating that position even after a pit stop, so he's still 2nd place overall in the race and leading P2 category. That's LMP2. Amazingly, yeah, we have P2 category cars. That is the 2nd division of this race on the overall podium. Such has been the ferocity of competition at the front that cars haven't been able to keep up. Across the rumble, you can see the Ferris wheel, and that signals we're heading towards the end of that. We're going to dive to the right. There we are, into the pit lane. sooner or later he's going to go left, then right, and then he has that 60-kilometre little board. You'll see it coming up just there in the headlights, and there's a white line, 60 kilometres an hour at that line. Let's hope he's got his hands off the steering wheel when he gets there.
I don't know if he's coming out. I wouldn't know. No, he is definitely coming out, isn't he? His Prio is fully ready.
I think I like the blue, you know. I do like the blue.
The blue looks good with the blue, doesn't it?
Yeah, the blue looks good, yeah.
So Prio goes in, wearing a different head and neck restraint to Durrani. Durrani wearing the old Hans device that was the original head support for introduced for accidents after the tragic loss of Dale Earnhardt in NASCAR incident. But then this new Simpson product that wraps around the body being chosen by Prio, so two different approaches in the same team.
In the world of rallying, most people use the Simpson one.
I haven't tried one yet, but everyone tells me I should.
Apparently it just completely changed. It's like Simpson Hybrid or something it's called.
Exactly, yeah.
And you remember all those years ago when Hans devices first came out, the uproar
Yeah.
with all race and rally drivers when they first came out. Oh, we can't drive it on this one. And now it's as if it's just not there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you notice it, but the biggest annoyance that I find with the hand devices is the belt slipping off.
Yes.
It's the thing that I struggle with the most, but it just means that, you know, once a lap you give a good old tug on your belts and away you go again. But yeah, I just definitely interesting to see the two different drivers taking a different approach in the same car. 67 out on its way again.
Fist bumps and handshakes all round there. They're happy with the job he's done. Prio will be in his car until daylight now, and he'll see the sunrise in this car.
He will. What are we? Official sunrise is where is official sunrise? 6:03. Yeah, official sunrise 6:03.
A little bit of light just before then.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be going to bed in the daylight.
Yeah.
It's like when we were teenagers, you know what I mean? 17,
I've
18.
only ever done it once at university many moons ago.
Oh, dear me.
Julian Soul there to the left-hand side of the screen. Julian is the technical mind behind that. Dave Wilcock there shaking hands with Pipo Durrani. Dave, ex-Pro Drive man, technician on the rally team, who spent a long time building up to become a race engineer at Pro Drive and then transferred over with George Howard Chapel, along with quite a few of the other crew, some of them via the Nissan LMP1 programme, into the Multimatic crew, now based just 3 miles away from the Pro Drive base in Greatworth Park on the Welch Lane between Silverstone and Banbury.
I've just found something in the back of the commentary box. I've been in here nearly 4 hours, and there's a bag of sweets behind us.
Nobody dared tell us that they were there.
Did you know these were here?
No, I didn't know they were there. I was wondering when someone was going to come and offer us some water.
They've obviously got. Oh, there's plenty of water. Look, they've loaded the place up before we came in. I didn't realise that. There's 6 bottles of water, 2 cans of Coke, some Fanta. There's all sorts in the back of the and a load of chocolate. I didn't realise that was there. But anyway, it is.
Joey Han setting a personal best on board the 68 Ford GT through sector 2 on the last lap, so we're starting to see some fast sector times coming in, particularly in the pro category, and I think that's where we're going to see it. So Joey then on his way in, so that was a flying lap into the pit.
This is Andy Prio we're on board with.
On the outlap.
9.6 seconds is the gap at the front of Pro category, and if we look at the gap at the front of P2, 3.2 seconds is the gap at the front between Hoping Tongue and Einemar Hansen. That is between the 38 car and the 13 car.
Give David Einemar Hansen his due. Tongue is one of the more seasoned professionals, and Heinemar Hansen is a good silver. And he's not letting Tung get away from him. He's 2.8 seconds is the gap. Pushing quite hard.
On board the 36 car here, this is Roman de Maat. Every time I see this car, he seems to be in it. I've not seen anyone else drive this car this week.
Probably a sensible attack from them. You know, Dumas winner here. He knows his way around in the overall stakes. Certainly, you know, he'll keep plodding away. See where they get to. This car's had a troubled run so far. November 36.
I think he'll be off to Pikes Peak next week as well. Because last year he won this race
And
and then went straight to Pikes Peak on the next day or something, didn't he? So and won Pikes Peak, I think.
He did.
He won Pikes
Yeah.
Peak and Le Mans 2 weekends in a row. So fair play. Car 27, slow in zone 13 with no lights. That is the SMP Racing car.
Dallara making their Le Mans debut here, but obviously they've been
And he's just left the pits.
put the switch on.
That's
Return to speed, so he was trying to find his find some switches, I suggest. He Dallara had heavy involvement with the Audi project in terms of aerodynamic work, wind tunnel work, and equally some manufacturing on the Audi project. So they're used to being here, they know what it's all about, but this is their first time here in an awfully long time as a true constructor.
gap at the front of Pro still 9 seconds, 9.3 seconds. Those gaps are just spaced out a little bit there. Rebellion Racing is going to be a driver change, and that's going to be for. I'm just looking at the second car. That's going to be Julien Canal getting into the 31 car. Prost has been in there most of the night, so going to be a driver change there. What does amaze me is over this week we will commentate about 22 hours.
Yeah.
And there is some drivers I've not seen in cars in all of that time. You wouldn't think it was possible, would you?
Would you?
Just the way the shifts that he kind of comes in and out of. But anyway. But something else, just looking at Julien Canal there. The Rebellion Racing car, the 31 car. There's two French drivers, which is Prost and Canal, and a Brazilian Senna. Prost was communicating in English. Senna communicates in English. Julien Canal communicates in French.
Yeah, French engineer on that car, so no problem for them. But
You would
yeah,
think they would all,
be
if
the
two
same.
of the three drivers are communicating in English, you would think they would all communicate in English. That's my thinking there.
It's one of the idiosyncrasies of the LMP2 class. They've got to take the best silver driver they can and whatever baggage comes with them.
So what you're saying there is his baggage might not be his English is brilliant.
Correct.
Okay,
But his pace is there.
but his pace is there.
So that's a sacrifice that the team will be more than willing to make to get the strongest lineup they can have across the car in terms of driver ranking and grading. And in the LMP2 class, you must have a silver driver.
Okay, that answers that one. And there's that's no disrespect to the guy, but obviously if he wants to move up the order,
Yeah.
he will, because if he ends up in a Porsche or a Toyota,
But this is the problem with the driver gradings. He doesn't want to move up the order because as a silver,
he's
he's very valuable. The minute he becomes a gold, that's the end of his career.
a 31 car on pit road. You see, Peter Dunbreck, I can't remember what Peter.
That's why Peter's not here in
Yes.
the car because Peter is too good.
Yes,
So, you know, if Peter, well, I think
He's
when
a-
you hit 50, you get a free downgrade.
yeah.
So I suspect
'Cause he's a gold, I think, isn't he?
Peter's a gold.
And he needs, because someone told him
He'll
last
get-
year he should be demoted to a silver and he would have more chance of racing.
It's absolutely true. Peter would be in an LMP2 car here if he was a silver. There's no shadow of a doubt. So I think at 50, you get a downgrade. So what he needs to do is start lying about his age a bit more. Get the free downgrade, and then he would be in an LMP2 car here, no doubt.
Yeah. It's strange, isn't it? When you're starting your career, you're lying about how young you are, and then the older you get, you're lying about how old you are. But that is Nico Prost. You can just look at the eyes. You can tell
it's a Prost.
It's a Prost,
And the
yeah.
nose.
The eyes and the nose. But how bizarre is it that a Senna and a Prost end up in the same team,
car.
in the same car and everything? Oh man! So all those years that the families have battled each other, respect,
Yeah,
but big
absolutely.
battles. Some hatred along the way. You know what I mean? Some real kind of dodgy moments that people had to manage there. But anyway, Hoping 4 seconds out front in the P2 category. It's an 8-second. Nicky Team. It's a 1/10 of a second per lap. He's gaining on Pierre Guidi in the battle at the front of Pro category. And then looking across, Will Stevens is out front by 3 minutes in the AM category. So, and you want to know who's out front in the LMP1 category? That is our main category. Andre Lotter in the number 1 car, and his gap is 18 laps. We're not in seconds. Everyone else is in seconds, and he has a big gap there. Driver change in this car. I didn't see which car.
Lotra came out of the Alpine 36. Not Dumas. Yeah, my ex-Audi driver's mixed up.
Okay, yeah. Dumas coming out. Oops.
Away he goes. Whoever has jumped in the number 36 don't recognise the helmet.
Little flick up. I think he's on now. He's on that screen, isn't he? 4 down on our second screen.
Will Stevens still leading GTE and Ewan Hankey. Crosses the timing line, and it is...
Menezes.
Okay, Menezes put this car off on lap 6 of the race, quite heavily into the gravel trap at Indianapolis.
And proceeded to
pulled him
wheel
out the
spin
car.
and just get it worse and worse. I mean, it wasn't coming out, but
No,
it just didn't seem to
he
make any
didn't
difference.
really think much about it. Soft tyres gone on, so Menezes is now going to hopefully have a stronger stint. He has been back in the car since then, and so hopefully calmed down and got his head together, ready to push on. Put in a solid double stint as a minimum. Riding on board with the number 8 Toyota now. Kazuki Nakajima on board, 3:23.2 last lap round, compared to Andre Lotra, 3:31.2. Lotra only just lapping quicker than the LMP2 cars. Brendan Hartley in the number 2 Porsche, 3:22.1, the quickest of our LMP1 cars at the moment.
Yeah, Nakajima doing a 3:23.2. Where's Hartley now? 15th.
Yeah.
That's on the hour.
It's taking the time to come up though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm making just out of interest every hour now. How many places are making up? So near enough 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's just start to prepare it. Their information. 4 o'clock in the morning. Is he going to get anybody? Yeah, he'll be up to 14th shortly. 2 places an hour. That's what he's making up. So if we go off that,
It's a hard old slog, isn't it?
that'll be 5 o'clock. That'll be 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock. But these cars then become faster as well, so he might then only get down to 1 car an hour, depending on how close they are apart. The only garage door open at Toyota is the number 8 garage. Car 7 and 9 retiring basically 17 minutes apart after all of that effort.
364 days work gone in 17 minutes.
Brendan Hartley. He's got 40 seconds to get past that car, or he goes on my sheet as being in 15th and not 14th.
So the management from Toyota still in the garage, still stood by the number 8 car, watching it go round.
the number 8 Toyota in the last hour has made up 10 places overall, but it's gone from 46 to 36, and still many laps away. And here comes Brendan Hartley in the number 2 car, and he's just about to overtake a place and go up to 14th overall as he goes across the line. Let's just see, yeah, that's going to put him, he's got another lap now to make up, to go past Karun Chandler, who is in 13th.